All right, let's talk about one of the most common frustrations in the AI world. It's that moment when you want to teach your agent a new trick and actually make it stick, so you don't have to repeat yourself over and over again. Well, today we're diving into a really powerful solution for that, called OpenClaw Skills. Let's get into it.
So, does this sound familiar? You spend some time crafting the perfect multi-step command for your AI agent. You hit enter, it works like a charm, and you feel like an absolute genius. But then, tomorrow comes.
And you have to type it all out, again, and again the next day. You see, the agent is amazing at following instructions, but it has zero memory of the workflow itself. Every single time you start a new chat, it's like a blank slate.
It's this little annoyance, right? That friction point that pretty much every single agent user runs into within their first week. So, what's the fix? How do we give our agent a real memory for these workflows we create?
We call this the Groundhog Day problem, and the solution is, honestly, so elegant and powerful. It's a concept that has really taken off across the entire AI world, pioneered by places like Anthropic and basically perfected in frameworks like OpenClaw.
So, what is this solution? It's called a skill, and it's exactly what it sounds like. You're teaching the agent a new ability. You write down the instructions just once, you give that workflow a name, and that's it. From that moment on, your agent knows how to do that whole thing whenever you ask for it.
And what's really amazing is just how simple this whole thing is under the hood. A skill is literally just a folder with a single text file inside. That file has a tiny little header at the top for its name and trigger, and then the body is just the step-by-step instructions, written in plain English. That's it, no complicated code.
Now, to really get why skills are such a game changer, we need to understand a core difference in how these AI agents work, and that's the difference between their wiring and their behavior.
Think of it like this. You've got something called the Model Context Protocol, or MCP. That's the agent's wiring. It's the plumbing that lets it plug into external tools like your Gmail or Slack. But a skill, that's the behavior. That tells the agent what to actually do with that connection once it's made. The wiring gives it the power. The skill gives it the instructions.
So, skills are great for solving your own personal repetitive tasks. But the reason they truly exploded in popularity is because of one key insight. They are shareable. And this idea led to a massive, thriving ecosystem.
And that brings us to ClawHub. Think of it as OpenClaw's public skill registry. But really, it's a giant catalog, an app store, basically, for AI workflows. It's a place where the whole community can publish the cool skills they've built so that you don't have to reinvent the wheel. And when I say massive, I mean it. The scale is just staggering. As of early 2026, ClawHub is home to over 13,000 published skills. This community-driven approach is a huge reason why the OpenClaw framework grew so fast. You can literally tap into thousands of pre-built workflows from day one.
Now, this pattern doesn't just work for individuals. It also solves a huge problem for large companies. But as you can imagine, with that kind of scale and openness comes a whole new set of challenges, especially when it comes to security.
So, let's take a company like Stripe. Their API, their set of tools, has hundreds and hundreds of different functions. Now, if you just connect an AI to all of them at once, it gets totally overwhelmed. It's like choice paralysis for the AI. It just doesn't know which tool to pick for any given task.
And there's hard data to back this up. Research from Anthropic actually found that once a model has access to more than 50 tools, its accuracy just drops off a cliff. We're talking down to around 49%. It gets the right answer less than half the time. That's not great.
Skills solve this with a really clever technique called progressive disclosure. Instead of overwhelming the agent with hundreds of API functions, a skill only shows its simple one-line description at first. The agent only loads the full, detailed instructions after it's already decided that's the skill it wants to use. This keeps the context small and keeps the agent focused and accurate.
Okay, but a public registry where anyone can upload a workflow, well, that is a pretty obvious downside, right? Not everybody out there has good intentions.
And this risk became very, very real with an attack campaign called ClawHub. Attackers started publishing malicious skills with names that looked almost identical to popular, trusted ones. They used tricky techniques like prompt injection, basically hidden instructions that hijack the AI's real goal to steal API keys and user credentials, pulling data right off people's machines.
So how do you protect yourself from this? Thankfully, the community came up with a simple but super effective practice. Inspect before you install.
Before you install any skill, just run the ClawHub inspect command. It shows you the skill's entire instruction file without actually running it. Just take 30 seconds to read it. If it's trying to connect to some weird website or access data it shouldn't need, just skip it. Easy.
Okay, so now that we know how to safely use skills from the community, let's talk about the really fun part, creating your own. When is the right time to turn one of your repeated commands into a permanent skill? Well, there's this wonderful little rule of thumb for this, the third time rule. It goes like this. The first time you do a complex task, you're just figuring things out. The second time, you're kind of confirming, okay, this is the workflow. But by the third time you find yourself typing those exact same instructions, that's your signal. It is time to create a skill. And when you do create a skill, it's good to know that OpenClaw looks for it in 3 places. You have bundled skills that come with the software, you have managed skills that you install from ClawHub for all your projects, but the most important ones are work skills. These live right inside your agent's personal folder, and they always take priority. This means you can customize a built-in skill without touching the original, because your local version always wins.
And here is my absolute favorite part of this whole thing. You don't even have to write these skills yourself. After you've gone through a workflow with your agent, you can just ask it, hey, can you turn our last conversation into a skill for me? And it will generate the file for you. The agent can literally write its own instructions. It's amazing.
And that really brings us full circle. We've gone from the frustration of just repeating ourselves over and over to a world where our AI agents can learn, they can remember, and they can share these reusable workflows. They're not just following orders anymore. They are truly acquiring skills. So the only question left is, what are you going to teach yours first? Thanks for joining me.